Hello everyone, welcome to this series on cultural studies. And in this video, we are going to discuss the ideas of Jean Baudrillard. Introduction. Jean Baudrillard, 1929 to 2007, is a towering figure in contemporary critical theory, transitioning from a sociologist of consumer society to a key thinker in postmodernism. His provocative analysis of contemporary mass culture and media has profoundly influenced cultural studies, film and literary criticism. Baudrillard's writing is marked by a flamboyance and hyperbole, gaining both widespread adulation and notoriety. Despite this, his work has often been overlooked for serious and sustained critical attention. Early career and Marxism. Baudrillard's intellectual journey began with a complex engagement with Marxism, a common thread among French theorists since the 1960s. This engagement was significantly shaped by the events of May 1968, which brought both euphoria and subsequent defeat. Baudrillard sought to liberate social analysis from the determinism of Marxism, which reduced culture to a secondary effect of economic factors. In Les Systèmes des Objets, 1968, and La Société de Consommation, 1970, he argued that in a consumption-driven society, traditional economic categories like need, supply, distribution, and profit are inadequate for understanding the nature and function of objects and commodities. Critique of consumer society. Baudrillard's critique of consumer society centers on the idea that consumption is not about satisfying needs, real or artificial, but about creating and sustaining a universal code of exchangeability among commodities. This system of consumption serves as a potent means of social control, logically extending the rationalization of production means. His seminal works For a Critique of the Political Economy of the Sign, 1972, and The Mirror of Production, 1973, challenged the core of Marxist value theory. Baudrillard posits that all needs are produced by structures of exchange, ultimately making the notion of use value a derivative of market dynamics. Symbolic Exchange and Death. In Symbolic Exchange and Death, 1976, Baudrillard further critiques the possibility of defining authentic human needs and values within a market system that erases the distinction between the authentic and the artificial. Influenced by Georges Bataille, Baudrillard argues that the only form of resistance is the negation of all value, equating to death. This extreme position highlights the totalizing nature of contemporary consumer society's symbolic exchange system. The simulacrum. Baudrillard's analysis shifts in the 1980s towards the concept of the simulacrum, culminating in Simulacres et Simulation, 1981. He delineates 4 stages of the sign, reflecting a basic reality, masking and preventing reality, masking the absence of reality, and ultimately becoming a pure simulacrum with no relation to reality. This progression reflects the contemporary world's condition, where signs and representations dominate to the extent that the real has been obliterated, rendering truth, reference and objective causes non-existent. The Precession of Simulacra. In the influential essay The Precession of Simulacra, Baudrillard argues that the dominance of signs and images has erased the real, leading to a world where representation is indistinguishable from reality. He uses the Gulf War as an example, suggesting it was so mediated and represented as a spectacle that it could not be considered a real war in the traditional sense. This idea illustrates Baudrillard's claim that modern conflicts are simulations, deeply intertwined with their media representations. Escalation of the true. Baudrillard observes an escalation of the true in response to the fading sense of reality in the simulacrum age. This phenomenon involves a proliferation of myths of origin and signs of reality, as people cling to second-hand truth, objectivity and authenticity. Ironically, this desire for the real intensifies the simulation, creating a hyper-real version of the true. Metaphors and analysis. Baudrillard employs a rich array of metaphors drawn from science fiction, biology, and military strategy to dramatize the contemporary world's condition. He describes the world's operationalization of codes and models likening to a biological process determined by DNA. The term satellization captures the idea of the world as a perfect replica in orbit around itself. Military metaphors highlight modern strategy as an exemplification of deterrence of the real, with the Gulf War being a prime example. Legacy and influence. Baudrillard's work continues to resonate in contemporary art and culture analysis. Despite his denial of the possibility of speaking on behalf of the truth, his theoretical critiques assert an aesthetic principle of value through the intensification of the real. His major works, including Seduction 1979, Simulacra and Simulations 1981, and The Transparency of Evil 1990, remain essential readings in understanding the complexities of postmodern culture. Conclusion. Jean Baudrillard's intellectual trajectory from Marxist critique to postmodern theory of simulacra has left an lasting impact on multiple disciplines. His provocative and hyperbolic style, combined with his profound insights into consumer society and media, continue to challenge and inspire critical thought. Baudrillard's legacy is one of deep engagement with the nature of reality, representation, and the relentless advance of simulation in contemporary culture. So this was the discussion on the main ideas of Jean Baudrillard. We will meet in the next video and take up some other topic. Until then, goodbye and thank you.